Do we have any update on who Miami's going to hire?
I was going to say, speaking of the MAC, all right, so we are sitting here recording for time purposes. We're sitting here recording on Wednesday. It's about 11:30 on the East Coast, and my unsourced, not reporting anything, but my read on the scenario is the two names that seem to have the most attention for Mario Cristobal's first offensive coordinator as head coach at Miami is Kendall Briles, who is currently the offensive coordinator at Arkansas and has been rising in the industry for a good bit of time now. And then the head coach of the Toledo Rockets, Jason Kendall, who was promoted after Matt Campbell left and has done a pretty good job. You know, he's got Toledo always as one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the MAC. He gets them to a bowl game with some regularity. But that would be, you talk about, MAC football. That to me would be not an indictment of Toledo or MAC football, but notable to leave that job willingly to go become the offensive coordinator at Miami. Now, we don't know if he is going to do that or not, or if he was just entertained by the offer, but wow. That would be something if Toledo finds itself in a coaching search because its head coach just left to go be an offensive coordinator for a first-year head coach in the ACC.
Haven't we seen this before? I'm trying to. Didn't Dan Enos leave Central Michigan as head coach, or did he get fired
to go become the
Arkansas? He did, yeah. In January 22nd of 15, Dan Enos resigned after getting his contract extension. To go and be the OC at Arkansas for Bielema.
We have seen it before.
So I guess it has happened before. For the record, I think Jason Campbell is actually, or Jason Campbell. I think Kendall is actually a pretty good play caller, and would be a good hire. But apparently, he's turned that down, per reports. Kendall Briles, I don't think has officially said anything. My guess is that's a move to get more money out of Arkansas, which would make some sense because they obviously gave Odom the big money extension. So I'm sure Briles would want one of his own. To me, the interesting thing is, okay, with what happened with Moorhead there, right? What Oregon was running a lot of times didn't look like what Moorhead normally wants to play. And it makes me wonder, we know that Mario Cristobal has the reputation as wanting to be very physically tough, and he's an offensive line guy, et cetera, et cetera. How much was he micromanaging what they were doing offensively at Oregon? Because it looked like they were trying to do a lot more, hey, get in bigger formations and pound the rock than Joe Moorhead is known for doing. I have a strong suspicion that Moorhead's offense will look a lot more like it looked at Penn State, Mississippi State, and then obviously now that he goes back to Akron to become their head coach. I think it's going to look a lot different than it did at Oregon. How much are other coaches out there noticing this and saying, Joe Mo's a pretty proven offensive mind. What Oregon was doing didn't always look like what Joe Mo is known for running. Does word get around in the industry as far as you being able to run what you want to run? I think Briles, by the way, would be a great fit down there. You have a quarterback who can chuck it deep in Tyler Van Dyke and throws the deep ball well. They were already running not the same system, but a somewhat similar system with what Lashley runs. It's obviously not the same, but they use some of the wide splits that you're going to use with Briles. So I think Arkansas would likely keep him and should, but I do wonder how much of this offensive coordinator search is, I don't say being hampered, but how much has it been influenced by what you saw with Joe Moorhead there at Oregon?
So I'm not defending Mario Cristobal's influence or non-influence, but I do think that it is important context to look at the pass catchers from the 2021 Oregon team.
For sure.
And then I just pulled up 2016 Penn State, because we're always going to hold 2016 Penn State as like the gold standard of the Joe Moorhead offense. And he had Chris Godwin, Mike Gesicki, Deshaun Hamilton, and Saquon Barkley as skilled options. And that's
Those
just
guys are in the NFL, I think, except for
yes.
maybe Hamilton. Is Hamilton in the league?
I do not know if he is in the league right now, but I just mentioned 3 starters in that group.
Yeah.
Compare that to Devin Williams, Chris Hudson, Travis Dye, Johnny Johnson. I mean, it's just there is in terms of the who you are dealing with for the pass catching element of trying to RPO this thing. I just think that Penn State offense had so many more weapons that were able to do more when you got them the ball and able to get the ball more. And then B, just the threat that they posed continued to make things a little bit more difficult. Saquon Barkley, Travis Dye. Travis Dye is great in transfer portal, but those are the things that I think I would say to defend the allegations of Cristobal influence is that, even in the meeting room, whether it's Cristobal, whether it's Moorhead, whether it's someone else on that staff, you're like, I mean, look, what do you want us to do? We've got a great offensive line. This is the best. This is our best chance at success.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see that. By the way, producer Jordan says Hamilton is in the league still with the Broncos. So to further your point there, I would also say I thought Jomo did a great job at Fordham. I mean, he took over a team that won 1 game, and then I think his final 2 years they won 10 wins, and the second biggest turnaround in the FCS in 2012, and obviously I think the guy's a proven offensive play caller, and this is just I'm confident that there is some of this out there, based on I think the expectations that are now at Oregon, seeing what Oregon did last year, and I think a new Oregon staff is probably pretty excited about what they can do relative to what they did in 2021.
Well, what about then the Miami side of this? If I'm a Miami fan listening to this, and I just saw Tyler Van Dyke be the ACC Offensive Freshman of the Year and look really good as the leader of this passing attack, am I concerned about whether Miami is going to be in a position where it is not maximizing skill position talent on the outside and the passing game? And if so, is that something that is a red flag, or at least something you're keeping an eye out for?
I think they'll get somebody. Also, it's not like Miami's offensive line right now is known for pounding people. So they weren't pounding people last year. You kind of, I think, have to play to your strengths, as you mentioned. I think they'll get somebody, and we'll get somebody good. And obviously, Van Dyke's pretty damn talented. They do lose Rambo, but they're bringing in some guys. I imagine they'll get somebody good. It's just, what does he want to be? Also, Kendall and Briles are
different,
pretty vastly different, as is Joe Brady. It's not like you're just picking off guys who all run very similar stuff. I mean, the public search seems kind of grab baggish. Like, what do you believe in? What can an offensive coordinator expect to be able to be allowed to run?
Just really seems like a too many cooks in the kitchen situation down there. And that's good for things to talk about because it's interesting. Good for business. Let's go.